Hi, I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me about tax deed sales. Tax deed sales are a type of auction that a lot of people are interested in because you basically can get the title of a property that you could otherwise not afford for a very small amount of money. Tax deed sales are a very important and very profitable way of making money at real estate. If you're interested in making money buying auction properties and tax deed sales, you can make huge, massive profits buying these properties from county governments and then reselling them or renting them or doing whatever you want. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the pros and the cons of buying these properties. I'm going to tell you a little secret about tax deed sales. Tax deed auction sales are only for the brave. If you are not brave, you should not be trying to buy properties at auction through tax deeds. Tax deed sales are very risky in one regard, but the profit is huge on the other side. So if you are brave, then you can go into the world of tax deed property auction sales and you can learn a little bit about it. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that you need to understand. First of all, what are you doing when you're buying a tax deed? What you're doing is basically buying a property where the former owner did not pay the property taxes for a few years, and then somebody, a third party, picked up the right to resell the property and then is selling it to the world through an auction. So basically the money that you put into the auction goes to this third party that owns what's called a tax certificate, and then they're the ones selling it at auction through a county website. Now, I practice law in Florida, so the stuff that I'm talking about is applicable in Florida. However, I do believe a lot of this stuff applies in other states. You just have to look into it. So when you go onto these websites to buy an auction property, a property deed auction, what you're getting is the right to own one of these properties. Now, let's go through the pros. The pros, the huge profits. We already talked about this. When you buy one of these properties, you're usually getting at a huge, steep discount, and you basically own all the equity of that property because, number two, you are the king. By buying a property, a tax deed, you are the number one on top of everybody else, meaning that if there's any other loans, mortgages, or any other secondary loans, you are on top of those by owning the tax deed. So by buying a tax deed, you basically are the top of the top, you're the king, you own the property. However, there is a wrinkle, and it is a huge wrinkle, and we're going to talk about that. But if you are brave, I think you might be able to get over it. Number one, the biggest issue with buying properties in tax deed sales is wasted time. What I mean by that is that the vast majority of these properties that are listed in these auction sites are redeemed, meaning that because the amounts of money that are owed are low, like $7,000, $10,000, $15,000, the owners of these properties aren't going to let their property go for $10,000. So they come up with the money, they find the money, and they pay off the tax deed. So basically you're going to spend a lot of time researching these properties, and in the end you're not going to buy it because it's going to be redeemed either the day before the sale or not. But every once in a while you're going to catch one in the river, and you're going to bring up this huge fish, and you're going to make some money. Now, the second most important thing you need to understand when you buy a tax deed is that you do not have marketable title, meaning that you can't just turn around and sell the property. Unlike foreclosure auctions where you do get marketable title, where you are the owner and you can immediately flip the property and make money, you cannot do that in a tax deed. I mean, in theory you could, but the other person does not get good title. You can transfer your tax deed title, but it's not good title unless you do something called the quiet title action. Now, quiet title action is a small lawsuit. It's a pretty simple lawsuit that you need to do, where you basically sue the world and anybody that might have an interest, and you basically tell them, I have this tax deed and I'm looking for a marketable title. The vast majority of the times these things are defaulted and you win them, so you just move forward and get it. But it's a step you have to take, and unfortunately for most people, you're going to need to hire a lawyer to do that. So it's an added cost. That is the biggest thing. If you buy one of these tax deeds, you're going to have to hire an attorney to do a quiet title action. Again, I'm talking Florida, but I'm pretty sure this is true everywhere, that you don't immediately get title. So if you're really interested in doing this and you're really seriously interested in buying a tax deed, or if you bought a tax deed, you're finding yourself in a situation where, hey, I need to get a quiet title. There are attorneys out there that do that. You're going to have to go to an attorney and ask for a quiet title, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to resell the property. That's the biggest con. However, like I said, once you overcome that, then you are the owner and you can do whatever you want. I have seen property tax deed sales where the person has made 300, 400, 500% profit on these properties, because the properties are sold at very small amounts, comparable to the value, because of all these other things, because of the quiet title and all these things. There's barriers of entry, so there's fewer people bidding on these things, and the reality is that it takes a little bit more money, a little bit more time to actually get the property. So if you're really interested in making money, this could be a path for you, but understand that you will have to do these extra steps to get title in the property to be able to sell it. That's all for now. I'll talk more about this, and we'll explain more about tax deed sales with later videos. But for now, that's what we're going to talk about. Thank you very much. Diego Mendez.